After watching the Elimination Chamber, I couldn't believe my eyes when John Cena basically sold his soul to the devil. I mean, The Rock. And he turned heel in the process. Let me tell you, that was definitely not on my bingo card for 2025. Nobody seen that shit coming. I mean, I was straight up losing my shit in the crib. And even as I'm recording this video just a couple of days later, I'm still trying to process what just went down. The memes, the edits, everything I've seen online is just making this whole thing 10 times more entertaining. And I'm all for whatever comes next. The internet will always and forever be undefeated. And I would like to give a huge shout out to WWE's creative team because they fucking cook with this one. And on the road to WrestleMania, I honestly thought it was going to be tough to top last year's WrestleMania with that cinematic Avengers Endgame-like ending we got. John Cena, The Rock, and The Undertaker! All of my childhood was in that ring that night. And with the storylines all over the place this year, I was honestly expecting WrestleMania to be a bit of a flop. The Rock was playing games, befriending Cody Rhodes. It was constantly breaking kayfabe. And we all figured Cena might end up facing someone like Logan Paul instead of having the opportunity to win his 17th world title. But that's the power and beauty of unpredictability. Now, as someone who's actually attending WrestleMania this year, I'm fucking hyped. But we've been waiting 20 years for this moment to happen. 20 long years. The last time John Cena was a heel, Michael Jordan retired from the NBA for the third and final time. LeBron was a rookie. 50 Cent dropped Get Rich or Die Trying, and Apple launched iTunes. Man, I went to work the next day and I couldn't focus. I couldn't think because holy fuck, it actually happened. And again, nobody could have seen this shit coming. And to think of this as my generation's version of when Hogan turned heel and became the third man and joined Scott Hall and Kevin Nash to form the NWO, I can only imagine how people felt back then. Like, wow. Let me just explain real quick for those who only watch me because of my basketball content and aren't familiar with wrestling terminology. A face or a baby face is a good guy and a heel is a bad guy. Now back to the video. All I'm gonna say is it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Wrestling is cool again. It's into that mainstream lame again. And if you ain't watching, I don't know what to tell you.
I love WWE. I love WWE. I love WWE.
And then that moment got me thinking about some of the wildest and craziest shit that I've seen in wrestling. Now, quick disclaimer. Everything on this list is going to be moments from the WWE because that's what I grew up on. And it's the most consistent product I still watch today. Hogan joining the NWO won't be on this list, even though I consider it to be one of the wildest moments in wrestling history because it happened before my awakening. Sure, I can go back and watch the clip, but I'll never experience it in real time the way others did. Also, the Montreal Screwjob won't be on this list for the exact same reason. My first 3 videos were about basketball, but when I started this channel, I didn't want to be boxed into just one thing. Basketball and wrestling are my 2 biggest passions, and I wanted to share both with y'all. So if you like both, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all the love and support so far. Thank you. So, hello YouTube. This is Armashadamas. You can call me Armani. And I'm back with my 4th video. And as you can see by the title, today I'm going to rank 10 of the wildest and craziest shit that I've experienced in wrestling. So, pull up a chair, grab some snacks, your beverage of choice, and enjoy. Starting off at number 10, Sting making his WWE debut. Now, Sting is a legend. He's known for his time in WCW and had a solid run in TNA. But nobody ever saw him coming to WWE. Back in 2001, when WCW went under, WWE brought in a ton of talent. DDP, Booker T, Rey Mysterio, Scott Steiner, Goldberg, and even the NWO, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and all made their way back to WWE. But one guy stood on business and didn't jump to the big leagues. That guy was Sting. And he never made the move because he didn't like how some of the talent was being portrayed. And honestly, he had some valid reasons, but if you ask any wrestling fan about their dream match, 9 times out of 10, they'll say Undertaker versus Sting. There was no bigger dream match than that. 2 dark, mysterious characters with so much potential for an epic story, and let's keep it a stack. Undertaker wasn't going to TNA. The only way that match was going to happen was in the WWE. Then in 2014, as part of a promo for WWE 2K15, they dropped a trailer introducing Sting as a playable character. And yo, I legit lost my shit. I'm sitting there like, wait, what? He signed with WWE? Pandora's box had officially been opened, and I started wondering when the hell he was going to show up. Fast forward to Survivor Series 2014, Team Cena versus Team Authority. It seemed like all hope was lost for Team Cena, with Dolph Ziggler as a lone survivor, barely hanging on after getting pedigree by
The game.
Triple H. Then the lights go out. The crow calls and his Titantron flashes on the screen. And in that moment, I completely lost it. It was one thing to see him in a WWE video game without having to create him, but actually see him show up on WWE programming, yeah, that was crazy. I didn't watch much WCW as a kid, but I knew exactly who the hell Sting was. In fact, he was the first action figure I ever had, this one to be specific, and in that moment, I knew the dream match was finally about to happen. The Phenom, The Undertaker, versus the Icon, Sting. Unfortunately, it didn't go down the way we all imagined. At the next WrestleMania, The Undertaker fought Bray Wyatt, rest in peace Bray Wyatt, and Sting faced Triple H. Now, I can't lie, it was cool to see the two biggest factions in wrestling history go against each other. The NWO versus D-Generation X. But the ending though, absolutely trash. Sting was buried by Triple H, and after that, his run in WWE was pretty much faded into obscurity. Number 9. Jeff Hardy's Swanton Bomb off the stage on Randy Orton. Now, when I was growing up as a kid, there was 3 people I wanted to be like. My dad, Kobe Bryant, and Jeff Hardy. Before all that drug stuff. Now, when it comes to doing wild and crazy shit, Jeff Hardy was that guy. Because of him, we've all tried doing Swanton Bombs off our beds, and every time we climbed the ladder, we heard his music. And I've seen Jeff Hardy hit swantons off of cages, ladders, you name it. But nothing compared to him doing it off the stage. Sure, I knew about the swanton bomb he did off the stage onto Abyss in TNA. But 1, I didn't even know Jeff was in TNA back then. And 2, I didn't even start watching TNA until November of 2005. And trust me, I remember that vividly. And 3, I legit thought Jeff broke his neck and was basically unalive after receiving that chokeslam from The Undertaker in that ladder match. Yeah. What type of shit was I on? Shit just got dark real quick. But anyway, his Swanton Bomb on Randy Orton was insane. This lunatic had all the momentum in the world, and he was finally getting a push in the main event picture. All of us Jeff Hardy fans prayed for times like this. As they were building up their match at the Royal Rumble on a January episode of Monday Night Raw in 2008, the two began brawling on the stage when Jeff threw him off the stage. As Randy's lifeless body was lying there, Jeff climbed the stage like on some SmackDown shut your mouth shit. He did his taunt, then hesitated to jump. He looked up, and as the crowd chanted him on, he climbed even higher, hit his taunt, and dove off. It was crazy to see Jeff even moving because I honestly thought he was done, paralyzed, and not able to compete for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. But that Swanton Bomb, man, that Swanton Bomb off the stage, that shit proved that Jeff Hardy was on a different level of crazy. Number 8. Randy Orton set the casket on fire. Before we got Bald Randy, we had Legend Killer Randy, who was out here disrespecting legends and RKOing old ladies. In 2005, Randy had a long-running feud with The Undertaker, and while he couldn't get the job done at WrestleMania 21, he did manage to defeat The Undertaker at SummerSlam with a little help from his pops, WWE legend Cowboy Bob Orton. Now, Taker was looking for his get back. Randy and his pops were set to face The Undertaker in a casket match at No Mercy, but this wasn't just any casket. This was a big-ass casket, big enough to fit 2 people. To win the match, Randy Orton smoked The Undertaker with a chair shot to the head that gave The Undertaker CTE. He closed the casket door, then locked it up. But he didn't stop there. This lunatic, y'all gonna hear me say that a lot. This lunatic used an axe to break some holes in the casket. He then poured gasoline on it and in it, and then he set that shit on fire. The casket was engulfed in flames. Look, I was 9 years old at the time, and I genuinely thought I watched a man get unalived on TV. The commentary team sold it, and what made it worse were the airy promos WWE aired questioning if The Undertaker was actually dead. But of course, he came back out of a burning casket at Survivor Series and then proceeded to destroy Randy Orton in a Hell in a Cell at Armageddon. You can't kill a dead man. Number 7. Edge spearing Mick Foley through a flaming table. Speaking of fire, Mick Foley is no stranger to it. When you think of hardcore, nobody's names comes to mind before Mick Foley's. Now, Mick was a special guest referee in a match between John Cena and Edge on the February 16th episode of Raw in 2006, where John Cena retained the WWE title. After the match, Edge attacked Foley because he felt like he screwed him, and the two would later have a hardcore match at that year's WrestleMania. Now, I've seen Mick Foley, Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, whatever the hell you want to call him, do a lot of crazy and wild shit in his career. But watching this man in real time was really insane. Plus, I really wanted Mick Foley to Edge because I fucking hated him for what he did to Matt Hardy and John Cena. This match was insane. Barbed wire, thumbtacks, and Mr. Sacco wrapped in barbed wire shoved into the leader's mouth. Yo, this shit was awesome. But fire though? Yo, come on, man. But throughout the match, Edge and Mick Foley were pouring lighter fluid on each other, and there was a table that was set outside the ring. Lita hit Mick Foley with a barbed wire bat that stalled him for a bit. Then she poured lighter fluid on the table and then set that shit on fire. The whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, no way. Like, I used to see them clips of the ECW videos when they used to put people through flaming tables. Now I'm watching Edge spear Mick Foley through a flaming table in real time. Like, yo, I don't give a what you say. Fire is fire. Edge hitting Mick Foley with a spear through a table that was on fire. Diving face first on a table that was on fire was insane. And even though Edge won the match, he was still a bitch to me, but he definitely earned my respect. Number 6, Kane electrocuting Shane McMahon's testicles. Yeah. Continuing the theme of fire, whenever you think of fire, Kane instantly comes to mind. He used to scare the shit out of me when I was younger. That man would set people on fire, but this wasn't the case here. Kane also used to wear a mask to hide the burns on his face, burns he sustained in a fire caused by his brother in a funeral home when they were younger. On the June 23rd episode of Raw in 2003, Kane lost a match to
The game!
Triple H. And the stipulation was that if Kane lost, he would have to unmask himself. Back then, I thought that was crazy and scarier than anything. But nah, once Kane unmasked, he turned into a whole menace. First of all, where the was his hairline? And second, the dude choke slammed his tag team partner Rob Van Dam, set JR on fire, choke slammed Eric Bischoff off the stage, and tombstone Linda McMahon. He was so unhinged that he had to be escorted to the ring with shackles and officers. But nobody messes with the McMahon and gets away with it. The boss's son, the lunatic Shane McMahon, came to his mom's aid. And on September 1st, 2003 episode of Raw, while Shane was cutting a promo in the ring, Kane's theme song hit and he showed up behind him, ambushing him. He then handcuffed Shane to the ring post, trapped his legs with the steel steps, and proceeded to put jumper cables on his testicles. Yeah, y'all heard me. He electrocuted him with a car battery. Yeah, that was some wild shit. My girl even said, what the is this when I show her the clip? If this ain't psychopathic behavior, I don't know what is. But honestly, I should have known better than to put anything past Kane. Number 5, CM Punk's pipe bomb and leaving with the WWE title. Now, this one is a 2-for-1. It was hard to choose one moment over the other because they both have a great deal of significance. One moment helps the other and vice versa. In mid-2010 to early 2011, I started losing a lot of interest in WWE. The Royal Rumble was ass. WrestleMania was ass. Besides the Undertaker versus Triple H match and CM Punk versus Randy Orton match, everything else was just ass. The Miz retained the WWE Championship in a trash-ass main event. John Cena's character was getting really stale at this point, but hey, The Rock was back, but I knew he was going to be there every week. And everything between WrestleMania in the summer was just pretty much ass. But you know who made the summer great and got me interested in watching wrestling again? CM Punk. CM Punk was set to have a match with John Cena at that year's Money in the Bank pay-per-view for the WWE Championship. And before that, he made it very clear that he was going to win and walk out with the WWE Championship because his contract was set to expire that same day. On June 27th, 2011, I'll never forget that day. CM Punk cut one of the greatest promos of all time. Now, I've heard some shoot promos in wrestling before. That is when a wrestler goes off script, but nothing like this before. Like I said, the John Cena character was getting stale, and it was time for a change. Somebody who was anti-authority, and that guy was CM Punk, and that was cool as fuck. This promo made me forgive him for what he did to Jeff Hardy a couple of years ago. This was real. He spoke about how WWE was being run, saying the reason he was leaving was because of the fans, breaking the fourth wall. He also referenced other promotions, said he was going to defend the title in those promotions like Ring of Honor, and even said the company would be better off when Vince McMahon was dead. Yo, nah, that was some bone-chilling shit. He then was about to tell us a personal story about Vince McMahon and his bullying campaign when his mic was cut and then Raw went off air. I was left stunned after watching that shit. Fast forward to July 17th, Money in the Bank live from Chicago, CM Punk's hometown. The crowd was nuts. Cena got booed out the arena like he did at ECW One Night Stand in 2006, and these two put on a classic. Towards the end of the match, Vince McMahon came out and tried to screw CM Punk like he did Bret Hart at Survivor Series 97, but Cena stopped that. Then CM Punk was able to win the match. He celebrated with the fans, then blew a kiss to Vince McMahon and walked out the arena with the WWE title. That was some gangsta ass shit. The whole time, I'm like, what the fuck? I never seen anything like that in wrestling where the current champion walks out of the company with the championship. That shit was wild, man. Say what you want, but that shit was real to me, damn it. Number 4. Big Show and Brock Lesnar breaks the ring. Now, watching wrestling, I've seen The Undertaker get chokeslammed through the ring. I watched Mick Foley fall through the ring. I watched Big Show break the ring post while Scott Hall was in the ring spinning around. But I never thought I'll see the entire ring collapse. Brock Lesnar, Here Comes the Pain, was a dominant force in the WWE. His strength, speed, and athleticism was unmatched. I mean, he was called the next big thing for a reason. Pause. But he defeated all the giants. The Rock, Kurt Angle, and even left in his own blood. But speaking of giants, let's talk about standing 7 feet tall and weighing 500 pounds. He was a legitimate threat on SmackDown around this time. Not that bullshit he was doing early in his WWE run when he was dressing up like Rikishi and Hulk Hogan. On the June 12th episode of SmackDown, Brock Lesnar and the Big Show squared off again for the WWE title. And what happened next became a core childhood memory for me. But for some reason, during the match, Big Show's big ass tried to hit Brock Lesnar with a super chokeslam off the top rope. Like, what the f*** you doing? But Brock Lesnar fought back and hit him with a superplex. Like, yo, the earth literally shattered, dinosaurs went extinct, and that's how we all got here, y'all. But copyrighted or not, just listen to the crowd and the announcers. Sorry, y'all, I can't do that. YouTube is mad strict with their copyright restrictions, so yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. Number 3, Vince McMahon died. In 2007, after the whole Battle of the Billionaires match at WrestleMania, things took a strange turn. The loser of that match had to get his head shaved bald, and of course, Vince McMahon lost. That's when we got the iconic do-rag Vince, an absolute menace, but damn, it was so entertaining. Vince would go on to win the ECW championship from Bobby Lashley, then started to make a mockery of the ECW brand before eventually losing it back to Bobby. But after that, Vince started acting real weird. Not just his usual eccentric self, but paranoid and erratic. He started thinking people were out to get him, and he just wasn't himself in an eerie way. Like, Vince was tripping, and I mean, he was always tripping, but this was different. So in an attempt to make himself feel better, Vince decided to have a Vince McMahon appreciation night on Raw. He had employees and friends talk about him, and of course, they shitted on him, and that shit was mad funny. After the night Vince was having, he tried to come out to the ring and cut a promo, but the guy who once had endless things to say was suddenly speechless. He left the ring, walked backstage, and there were a bunch of WWE superstars and divas lined up who all had this weird look on their face. Paul London didn't get the memo because he was teasing them hard, but as Vince McMahon walked past them, Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Coachman was like, yo, bro, your limo is the other way. So Vince walks and nobody is saying anything. Everyone is just looking at Vince as he walked around. Then Vince walked outside to the parking lot and he was doing a lot of second guessing, looking over his shoulder. It was like, it was so weird. But then he took one step inside his limo and then began to close the door. Then he stopped. Then he finally shut the door and boom, the limo exploded. Like, what? I honestly didn't know what to say. That was just how Raw ended. No context. Like, the last scene of Raw was a limo in flames. But I immediately ran to my mom and was like, yo, Vince McMahon just died. But my dumb ass didn't bother to check the news. You couldn't fake that explosion, right? So for the next week or so, they would show memorial services for Vince and everything. And I'm like, damn, he really gone. Then he just shows up on the next Raw in the empty arena to deliver the shocking news that Chris Benoit had died. Like, that shit just went left. Like, damn, this was legit on the news and everything. So this felt surreal. Now, if that tragedy didn't happen, I remember reading somewhere that Vince was going to leave a will that left everything to his illegitimate son,
Mr. Kennedy.
This was going to start a rivalry within the family, and Linda McMahon was going to get arrested. Like, what the f? Number 2, John Cena turning heel. Now, this moment was the whole inspiration for this entire video. This shit had to be on the list. I mean, a week later, as I'm making this video, it's still crazy to believe that this shit is the reality that we're living in. Not going to explain too much since it just happened. And the only way you wouldn't know is if you've been living under a rock. This shit was everywhere. And even people who don't watch wrestling were coming up to me talking about it. That's how earth-shattering this shit was. Just like I said at the top of this video, John Cena turned his back on the fans. He turned heel and went against everything he ever stood for. Hustle, loyalty, and disrespect. Nobody saw this shit coming. We've always predicted it. We always thought, what if? But WWE finally pulled the trigger. To say I'm shocked is an understatement. This picture of John Cena making this face will forever be burned in my memory. And this picture of The Rock, John Cena, and Travis Scott, I need this shit framed in my crib because bravo, this shit was cinema. To make it even crazier, you have one of the greatest heels of all time, Randy Orton, who is now a babyface, and you have one of the greatest baby faces of all time, if not the greatest baby face of all time, in John Cena, who is now a heel. Who would have thought? And we're only 3 months into 2025, and what the hell is going on? Anyway, going a little off topic here, but let me know real quick in the comments, since we do basketball content on this channel as well, which one was more shocking? Luka Doncic getting traded to the Lakers or John Cena turning heel? Number 1. Brock Lesnar breaks the streak. Where do I even begin? This had to make the list. This should be on everybody's list. But remember when I said that Brock Lesnar superplexing Big Show and breaking the ring was a core childhood memory? Well, now Brock Lesnar shows up on his list again, but for something I honestly wish I can erase from my memory. So after Brock superplexed Big Show back in 03, he would stick around in WWE for another year before walking away in 04. He wrestled in New Japan Pro Wrestling for a bit, became a heavyweight champ, and then joined the UFC where he also became a heavyweight champ. Then in 2012, the Beast returned. He went on a rampage, destroying the likes of John Cena, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and CM Punk. But there was still one thing left to do.
Eat, sleep, conquer the streak.
Brock Lesnar was planning to break The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania 30. But here's the thing. The Undertaker was undefeated at WrestleMania. I thought for sure no way Brock was the guy to break it. I knew 3 things in life were certain: death, taxes, and The Undertaker remained undefeated at WrestleMania. But then I started to think about the odds weren't really on Undertaker's side. The last time these two were in the ring one-on-one action, Brock Lesnar had left Taker a bloody mess after retaining the WWE title in the Hell in a Cell match at No Mercy in 2002. Still, I thought there was no way Taker was going to lose. This was his chance at redemption, and I wanted him to retire with the streak intact. Now, before Peacock, WWE Network, and Streamies, rest in peace to Streamies, gone but never forgotten, I was stuck watching pay-per-views on some bootleg streams with the worst Wi-Fi. As I watched this match, something felt off. I know Taker was old, but he was moving differently. His usual fire wasn't there, and I feel he just couldn't match the intensity of Brock Lesnar. Anyway, my stream lags out, and after struggling to get it back for a solid minute, I finally did, and then I saw it. I thought maybe Taker hit a big move or something, but nah. I started to see that same look of shock on everyone else's face in the crowd. Paul Heyman was losing his mind in the corner, and I'm sitting there like, no way this shit can't be happening. Paul runs over to Brock Lesnar saying, you did it. And I'm like, he did what? Then it hit me. 21-1. I was so shocked, man. Like, I was thinking something might have went wrong. Did the ref mean to count the two? Was it supposed to be a kick out? Maybe they'll clear this up in the storyline or something. Brock was not supposed to win. Come on. But I was sitting there left in complete confusion, not knowing what to think. I mean, I wanted to stop watching wrestling that day. I didn't even think I watched the rest of the show, to be honest with you. I couldn't eat. I couldn't think, nothing. All I could feel was this overwhelming sense that I felt like this was going to be Undertaker's last match. The streak was broken, and I was left thinking, now what? Like, what's the point? When you think of WrestleMania, you think of The Undertaker! He was still one of the reasons why I still watch this bullshit. But honestly, fuck Brock Lesnar. And that's all, y'all. Thanks for spending some time with me. And if you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop your personal ranking of 10 of the wildest and craziest shit you've experienced in wrestling. Let's talk about it in the comments. Also, be sure to check out my most recent video where I talk about 8 of the coldest taunts and celebrations in NBA history. And don't forget, I run a podcast with 3 of my homies where we talk about all things hoops. So check out the channel, and until then, y'all be good.
What the Rock is